Welcome back to my YouTube channel, where today we embark on a deep and comprehensive journey through one of the most overlooked yet fascinating pieces of modern American numismatics, the Roosevelt dime. From the year 1980, in this long-form documentary-style presentation, we will trace the entire story of this coin from its origins rooted in American history to its precise design, composition, minting, and the historical significance that surrounds the year 1980 itself, as we look at the coin that was born from the legacy of one of the most pivotal figures in 20th century America, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. A man whose image was chosen to represent the 10-cent piece starting in 1946 in honor of his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his founding of the March of Dimes, which directly connects to the denomination itself. We will begin by examining the decision that led to Roosevelt's depiction on the dime, replacing the long-running winged Liberty head design, commonly referred to as the Mercury dime, which had been in circulation since 1916 and was widely loved by collectors and the public alike. This decision marked not only a symbolic tribute to Roosevelt's life and service, but also a new era in American coinage design, driven by changing sentiments and technological capabilities at the U.S. Mint. As we move into the decade of the 1980s, we find ourselves in a period marked by significant social, economic, and political shifts in the United States and the world, which provides important context for understanding the coinage of that year. In particular, the Roosevelt dime minted in 1980 carries with it subtle traces of these broader transformations, both in the metal used, the production levels, and the minting process itself. We will dive into the details of the coin's physical characteristics, including its composition, which by 1980 had already transitioned from 90% silver used in earlier dimes to the clad composition adopted in 1965 as a cost-saving measure due to the rising price of silver. The 1980 Roosevelt dime was composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a core of pure copper, creating a durable and practical alloy that balanced both function and affordability for widespread circulation. We will then explore the three major mint facilities that struck the Roosevelt dime in 1980, namely the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint, each of which contributed to the total mintage numbers, and each leaving its own unique mint mark, or in the case of Philadelphia, at the time, no mint mark at all, which is itself an important factor for collectors. We will delve into the exact mintage figures for each location, including the total number of coins struck with and without mint marks, and how those numbers impact rarity, desirability, and current market value. We will also discuss the role of proof sets in 1980, produced at the San Francisco Mint, and how these high-quality mirror-finish coins differ from regular circulation strikes, including what collectors should look for when identifying a 1980s proof Roosevelt dime in pristine condition. Next, we will break down the finer points of coin grading for the 1980 Roosevelt dime, examining what separates a worn, circulated coin from a mint state example, and how third-party grading services such as PCGS and NGC evaluate the condition of these coins using the Sheldon scale from grades like MS-60 up to the perfect MS-70. We will look at auction records and population reports to understand how many high-grade examples exist, what kind of premiums they command in the market, and why certain strike characteristics, such as full bands on the torch design, can significantly increase a coin's desirability and value. Throughout this video, we will also explore the design itself, which remains unchanged from its original 1946 debut, featuring John R. Sinek's portrait of President Roosevelt on the obverse with the word Liberty. The motto, "In God We Trust," the date, and mint mark placement clearly visible, while the reverse bears the torch flanked by olive and oak branches, representing liberty, peace, and strength, respectively. The symbolism embedded in this imagery speaks to the values that Roosevelt championed and continues to resonate through each dime struck in his honor. We will examine how the design has aged over time and how technological advancements in minting have improved strike quality while maintaining the original artistic vision. A significant part of our journey will involve studying the error and variety coins of the 1980 Roosevelt dime, including notable examples such as off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and other minting anomalies that have caught the attention of collectors. Over the years, we will go into detail on how to spot these errors, what tools can help identify them, and how much they can be worth, depending on their severity, rarity, and eye appeal. This section will be especially helpful for viewers interested in searching through their own coin collections or rolls from the bank in hopes of discovering a valuable find. From there, we will look into the broader economic conditions of 1980, including inflation rates, the state of the U.S. Mint, and public attitudes toward coinage, which help explain why certain coins were minted in the quantities they were, and how public demand and circulation needs shaped the production of dimes. During that year, we will also compare the 1980 Roosevelt dime to dimes of other nearby years to identify any unique features or production anomalies, and see how the 1980 issue fits into the larger timeline of the Roosevelt dime series. We will also highlight the significance of this coin in modern collecting circles and how its role in everyday commerce makes it both ubiquitous and underappreciated. We will speak with numismatic experts, analyze sales trends, and use real data to assess the investment potential of the 1980 Roosevelt dime, including whether it holds any promise for the future as a valuable collectible, especially in high grades or with rare varieties. Finally, we will close with a discussion of how coins like the 1980 Roosevelt dime serve not just as tools for transaction, but as miniature pieces of American history, each carrying the legacy of a president, a time period, and a nation's evolving identity, from design choices to minting technology, from collector demand to economic history. This coin tells a rich and multi-layered story that is often overlooked, but today we give it the spotlight it deserves. So whether you are a seasoned collector, a casual enthusiast, or someone just beginning to explore the world of numismatics, this video will provide you with everything you need to know about the 1980 Roosevelt dime, its history, design, value, and importance in the broader scope of American coinage. So sit back, grab your magnifying glass, and let's explore every detail of this small but mighty coin in a full-length numismatic deep dive. In the numismatic world, condition is king, and we will now examine in granular detail how third-party grading has transformed the value of the 1980 Roosevelt dime before the rise of companies like PCGS and NGC. Most coins were traded based on eye appeal and dealer reputation, but with the advent of certified grading, coins could be encapsulated, slabbed, and authenticated as genuine with an assigned numerical grade on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70. The majority of 1980 dimes exist in circulated grades from VF20 to AU58, but those in mint state, especially above MS65, become increasingly rare, especially with full-band designations. MS66FB and MS67FB examples are scarce and often appear in registry sets assembled by competitive collectors, which helps push prices higher at public auction. Let us now consider the coin's broader significance as a historical artifact. While the Roosevelt dime is common and still in circulation every day, it is part of a continuous series that reflects the cultural priorities of America. In the post-war period, the choice of Roosevelt as the face of the dime represents a national consensus around leadership, compassion, and resilience following the trauma of World War II, as coins circulated through the hands of millions. They also carried the subtle reminder of FDR's leadership and the birth of the March of Dimes, which sought to combat polio and later expanded into broader child health initiatives. In that sense, the 1980 Roosevelt dime is both a monetary tool and a mobile monument, a mass-produced yet intimate piece of history that continues to be passed along without most people recognizing the story it holds. As we approach the closing chapters of this presentation, we must also address market dynamics, including collector demand population reports, historical, sales data, and pricing guides which show us that, although the 1980 Roosevelt dime is not a key date in the series, it still holds value for those pursuing complete sets. Especially in high-grade condition or with unique errors, auction records show that MS67FB examples have sold for over $100 due to their rarity and eye appeal, while high-grade proofs with deep cameo contrast also see demand from registry collectors assembling top-ranked proof Roosevelt. Dime collections, we will also look at how grading trends evolve over time and how certain coins that were once common in MS65 now seem increasingly rare due to stricter standards applied by modern graders. Finally, we reflect on the timeless nature of coinage and how a single year's production such as the 1980 Roosevelt dime becomes a lens through which we can study art, economics, metallurgy, history, politics, and human behavior. In one unified story, it is not just a coin, it is a connector of generations, a frozen moment in history, a representation of ideals struck in metal. It tells the story of an American president, a minting system, an economy in transition, and a nation still finding its identity in a changing world. And that is what makes the 1980 Roosevelt dime not just collectible, but meaningful, where we take deep dives into the fascinating world of coin collecting and coin value analysis. And today, we are going to explore the incredible history and value evolution of Lincoln pennies, along with key insights into 2021 coinage that every collector and investor should know, whether you are just beginning your numismatic journey or have years of experience under your belt. This video will guide you through the most essential and most intriguing details of one of America's most iconic coin series, the Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. This penny became the first regular issue United States coin to feature a real person, and it replaced the Indian head cent that had circulated since 1859. The designer Victor David Brenner created the obverse portrait of Lincoln based on a photograph taken in 1864, and the initials VDB appeared prominently on the reverse of the first issues, which stirred controversy among the public and led to their temporary removal. Later, they were discreetly restored to the obverse under Lincoln's shoulder, where they remain today. Now, moving forward through the decades, we will walk through every major design shift, composition change, mint mark detail, error, variety, and rarity, from the original wheat reverse struck from 1909 to 1958 to the memorial reverse that followed from 1959 to 2008, celebrating the Lincoln Memorial Building and marking 150 years since his birth. Then we enter the modern era from 2009, with the bicentennial reverse program, which introduced 4 different designs representing key phases of Lincoln's life, such as his birth and early childhood in Kentucky, his formative years in Indiana, his professional life in Illinois, and his presidency in Washington, D.C. These special reverses were issued for 1 year only before the introduction of the Shield reverse in 2010, which remains in circulation today. This coin features a Union shield with a scroll bearing the inscription 1 cent, meant to symbolize Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single country. Now we must discuss the metal compositions, which have changed several times due to economic factors, including during World War II, when the 1943 Lincoln cents were struck on zinc-coated steel instead of the usual bronze, leading to one of the most famous error coins in American history, the 1943 copper cent, which was struck on leftover planchets and is now worth thousands or even over $100,000 depending on condition and provenance. We will analyze year by year the minting figure's strike qualities, key dates, proof issues, and double die varieties, including famous examples like the 1955 double die obverse and the 1969 S double die, which are highly sought after by collectors and considered grails of the Lincoln series. Transitioning into the modern collecting scene, we will cover how grading affects value, with reference to leading grading services like PCGS and NGC. We will examine population reports and what makes a coin worthy of MS-66 red or higher designations, and we will look at the evolution of packaging from original bank rolls to modern slabbed certified coins. We will also touch on coin roll, hunting, and how thousands of collectors are still finding valuable cents in circulation, and how knowledge of mint marks and small variations can lead to big discoveries. Then we will move into the 2021 coinage and take a focused look at the Lincoln cent from that year, which was issued in massive quantities across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, while the design remained the same. Subtle die changes and quality differences produced some exciting error coins, and doubled die remained the same. Subtle die changes and quality differences produced some exciting error coins and doubled die varieties, which we will catalog for you in detail. We will analyze the mintage statistics, market activity, and auction prices of 2021, pennies from uncirculated and proof sets, and how they compare with earlier years, including the effect of the ongoing coin shortage and changes in public demand. We will also break down the impact of third-party verification and how demand in online marketplaces like eBay or heritage auctions reflects shifts in collector interest. We will look at toning strike sharpness and even coin chemistry, and how storage methods affect long-term value in cents, both old and modern, for over 100 years. The Lincoln penny has not only circulated among billions of Americans, but also stood as a living piece of history, evolving with the nation through wars, economic shifts, social change, and artistic transformation, and this channel is here to help you understand the depth of that history with precise detail, collector insight, and expert knowledge. So whether you're collecting for fun, for investment, or to preserve a piece of heritage, stay tuned, because this episode will take you on a journey from 1909 to the present moment, a story told through copper, bronze, and zinc, through art and commerce, through the hands of workers and the vision of engravers, through the rarity of errors and the patterns of mass production, and we are just getting started. Lincoln cents? We now turn our attention to the key varieties and errors that have shaped the collector market and captured the fascination of numismatists around the world. We begin with the most famous double die errors, such as the 1955 double die obverse, which displays strong doubling of the date and inscriptions, especially in the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." This coin was accidentally released into circulation and became legendary, overnight fetching high prices even in circulated grades. Similar doubling can be found on the 1972 double die and the extremely rare 1969 S double die obverse with fewer than 100 confirmed examples. These coins exhibit strong class I doubling, which results from misalignment in the hubbing process during die creation. Another coveted variety is the 1995 double die obverse, which, although more common than earlier examples, still commands strong interest from collectors and is often found in mint state due to being caught early in its distribution. In addition to double dies, we explore repunched mint marks known as RPMs, which are particularly common in the 1940s and 1950s when mint marks were punched manually. Examples like the 1944 D over D or 1956 D over D are highly collectible and often fly under the radar of less experienced collectors. We will examine how these repunched marks can be spotted using magnification and lighting, and how their value varies across different grades and appearances. We will also discuss overdates like the elusive 1918 over 7D, which combines a date from the previous year with the next due to die reuse, and remains one of the great rarities of the wheat cent series. Then we investigate transitional errors, which occur when planchets or dies from one composition or design are accidentally used in another year. The most famous of these is the aforementioned 1943 copper cent, but there is also the 1944 steel cent, a rare error that occurred when leftover steel planchets from 1943 were mistakenly used in 1944. Another example is the 1982 small date copper and zinc, transition year which features 7 major varieties due to the change in composition from 95% copper to the current copper-plated zinc. This year alone requires careful study to distinguish small date from large date and copper from zinc using simple weight measurement and magnification. We also delve into the minting process itself, explaining how dies are created, hubs are pressed and coins are struck, and how errors at each stage can produce the varieties we now collect from die cracks and cuds to off-center strikes, broad strikes, and clipped planchets. Each type of error tells a different story about the coin's creation and journey, and we show how to identify them, authenticate them, and understand their relative scarcity. Next, we explore the economics of coin collecting with a close look at price. Guides like the Red Book auction records from Heritage Stacks Bowers and Great Collections, and third-party grading services that establish value and legitimacy. We explain the difference between raw coins and graded coins, and how certifications like MSRD, RB, and BN affect value, especially for Lincoln cents, which can show vivid color changes over time due to toning. We explore how storage conditions influence color. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, where we uncover the hidden stories and true value of old coins. Today, we begin an incredible journey into the world of the 1980 Washington quarter, a coin that may seem ordinary at first glance, but in reality holds layers of history, design, evolution, minting processes, and collector significance that most people overlook. As we step into the rich background of the Washington quarter, we have to travel back not just to 1980, but all the way to 1932, the year this coin series was first introduced in celebration of the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The United States Mint chose to honor the first president of the United States with a circulating commemorative coin that eventually became one of the most widely recognized and circulated coins in American history, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. The Washington quarter replaced the Standing Liberty quarter, which had been in circulation since 1916 and had gained both admiration and criticism over its short lifespan. Flanagan's design featured a bold and dignified profile of George Washington facing left with the word "Liberty" above, and the national motto, "In God We Trust," to the left, along with the date below on the reverse. The original design showcased a powerful eagle with wings spread and a bundle of arrows beneath it, symbolizing strength and readiness with olive branches below as a message of peace. This design remained largely unchanged for decades and became a cornerstone of American pocket change. By 1980, the Washington quarter had already seen a number of changes. Though subtle, they reflected both advances in minting technology and shifts in the needs of circulation and collector interest. By this time, silver had been removed from quarters entirely since 1965 due to rising costs and the need to preserve precious metal resources. The Coinage Act of 1965 mandated the removal of silver from dimes and quarters, transitioning them to a copper-nickel-clad composition. This meant that by 1980, the quarters were made of an inner core of pure copper and outer layers of copper-nickel, creating a durable and cost-effective solution that maintained the coin's weight and size, but affected its overall tone and wear patterns in circulation. Now let's focus specifically on the 1980 Washington quarter. This coin was struck at 3 United States Mint facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each mint mark telling a small part of a larger story. The Philadelphia Mint issued coins without a mint mark, as was standard at the time. The Denver Mint quarters carried a D-Mint mark, while the San Francisco Mint, which primarily handled proof coins, produced 1980 quarters with an S-Mint mark meant for collectors and not intended for general circulation. The production numbers were immense, with hundreds of millions of coins produced across all 3 facilities. But what makes the 1980 quarter truly fascinating is not just its mintage numbers, but its place in the numismatic landscape of the late 20th century. At this time, coin collecting was evolving from a niche hobby into a more mainstream interest, catalyzed by a growing awareness of coin errors. Varieties and historical narratives surrounding U.S. coinage collectors began to pay close attention to details like die variations, minting errors, plancher anomalies, and condition grading, all of which affected the market value of a coin that might otherwise appear common in the case of the 1980 Washington quarter. One of the most sought-after varieties is the 1980 D quarter, with a repunched mint mark also known as RPM. This occurs when the mint mark is stamped more than once, but not in exactly the same position, creating a slight doubling effect that is visible under magnification, though subtle. This type of variety adds a premium in collector markets and is cataloged and certified by major grading services such as PCGS and NGC. Another point of interest lies in the condition of the coin, with high-grade examples in mint state, especially MS-66 and above, commanding significantly higher values compared to their circulated counterparts. In terms of design integrity, the 1980 quarter maintained John Flanagan's classic vision, though by this time many coins began to show wear due to decades of circulation changes in die technology, and minting efficiency also led to sharper details on some 1980 issues depending on die state and strike quality. So when evaluating a 1980 quarter, one must consider not only the mint mark and date, but also the sharpness of the strike, presence of luster, absence of contact marks, and overall eye appeal, all of which factor into its numismatic value. It's important to recognize that even coins produced in the millions can become rare in high grades, especially if preserved in original bankrolls, mint sets, or found in exceptionally well-struck condition. Beyond the coin itself, the broader historical context of 1980 offers additional richness to our narrative. This was a year of transition for the United States, marked by economic shifts, political changes, and the continued evolution of American culture. The U.S. Mint was adapting to increasing public interest in coinage, driven by inflation fears and the growing popularity of collecting as an investment. The numismatic press was booming with new publications, dealers, and conventions, creating a thriving environment for coin education and exchange. In this backdrop, the 1980 Washington quarter circulated widely across the country, playing its role in daily commerce while quietly becoming a piece of collectible history. We can also explore the legacy of the Washington quarter through its long life, leading up to the redesign in 1999 with the launch of the 50-state quarters program, an initiative that revolutionized public interest in U.S. coins and led to a dramatic increase in coin collecting across all age groups. But the pre-1999 quarters, such as the 1980 issue, remain a staple of traditional collections, particularly among those who appreciate the historical consistency of Flanagan's original vision and the physical characteristics of clad coinage that defined a generation of U.S. currency. As we journey further into this video, we will look at real examples of 1980 quarters under magnification review coin grading techniques used by professionals, assess price trends from auction records and online marketplaces, and study how storage, handling, and time affect the condition and value of these coins. We'll break down the differences between proof and business, strike coins, examine the role of third-party grading services, and understand what makes a 1980 quarter worth a few cents or hundreds of dollars, depending on rarity, variety, and preservation. We will also touch on collector stories, interviews, and insights from experts in the field, and answer your most frequently asked questions about spotting valuable errors, building a Washington quarter set, and protecting your investment for the future. So stay with me as we dive into every facet of the 1980 Washington quarter, its historical roots, design significance, minting variations, market performance, and collector appeal. This isn't just a coin. This is a chapter of American numismatic heritage, and by the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to recognize, value, preserve history, and maybe even uncover a hidden gem in your own pocket change.